What is going on, everybody? So today I have RMDoxx in the house. Just for the record, as always, anything I do is donation based. It's been that way since I started my channel. I'm not being paid in any way by RMDoxx. I'm actually an investor in this project. I believe in this project. I like the team behind the project. I didn't reach out for them and ask them for an Ethereum to cover this project. I am doing it simply because I think they are a great asset to the crypto community. I like the partners that they've been bringing on and that they're working for, and the partners that they're going to bring on in the future. And I think the concept and everything they're doing with this project is something that's not really taking place in this industry, and that should be, right? So I think a lot of people overlook this project and how great it is simply because it's not a meme coin. It's not something that's going to pump 100x in a day. And that's why people like me that are serious investors that are looking at projects that have sustainability and that bring something to the table as far as utility and purpose and, goals in their roadmap, this is the kind of project that I want to be involved with. If you guys saw yesterday, they did a really badass AMA with Awesome Austin. I will put his link in the description of this video when we're done. I have two of the main developers of RMDoxx with me today. We have David and Haas. So if you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves and kind of say your roles at the project and give the community kind of an idea of what you guys do and what you have done.
Haas, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm the lead dev for RMDoxx. Is there an echo or no? Yeah, and I'm part of I lead the technology side of RMDoxx. I have a past experience working with a lot of IT companies from Dell, NTT Data System, EDS, CompuWare. So that's what I've been doing for the past 10 to 15 years, I guess. But my experience in coding comes to MS SQL, MySQL, JavaScript, Visual Basics, anything that has to do with data. I kind of build it, and this is how I kind of got to the blockchain because it was data related. Basically, yeah, that's my background when it comes to the IT side of things. And I helped deploy the contract, and I've been with RMDoxx since.
And I think I'll let David go, but one of the reasons that brought you guys all together in the first place was you had all been rugged initially, right? And that's kind of what made you guys want to bring this project to light and really push something out in the community to be like, hey, we kind of want to safeguard our community because no one likes being rugged, right? I mean, some of these people like to be degens and do these, gambling plays or whatever, but honestly, guys, when you get yourself in those kind of plays, what is the real purpose? Yes, you have that gambling mindset and you can make a lot of money in a quick period of time. But what if it's the opposite end of the sword? What if you lose everything? Do you really want to give bad people and bad actors your hard-earned money and take away from your families and yourselves simply to try to make a quick run up in a day? I don't see the purpose in it, guys. I don't personally invest in projects like that. I invest in projects like this that are long-term. And like I said, these two individuals had already been rugged, and they said, you know what, we're going to come together. We're going to bring our team together, and we're going to try to bring something to this community and this industry that nobody's done prior. And I think they're doing a fantastic job. But David, if you want to go ahead.
So before I dive into my curriculum vitae, I will speak to that a little more. Yes. It was basically a bunch of highly competent, highly skilled individuals in varying fields who went, we could probably do this better because we're not a bunch of lying scum and we're willing to put our names and reputations on the line, which we really weren't seeing at that point, especially when we launched on October 16th. Since then, and since we've been pounding the pavement and pounding the tables, we've seen some interesting evolutions. But my background is I have a growing expertise in Solidity. I was actually planning to launch my own token in February of this year. Last year I was planning to launch my own token in February of this year. It was going to be called Diamond Viking Crypto, but thankfully I ran into these people who've become my teammates, my fellow devs, And it's nice not being the smartest guy on the team for a change. It's very rare. I have a background in business, law, and venture capital investment. So really what we are trying to do is carve out a space where new investors can come in, new adoption, with a greater sense of confidence and security in those things in which they're investing in. Because originally when we first came on the scene, people are like, no, rugs are okay, rugs are natural, rugs are part of this ecosystem. You just got to take losing 5 to 15 grand and just move on and keep going. And like, well, most of us know better. If you lose 5, 15 grand in the space, you're moving on. I think they only lost a couple grand with Rick and Morty. So I didn't lose much. There are people who lost a lot more. And we decided we want to put an end to it. We want to be part of the change. There's an old saying by Gandhi, it's been a long day. Be the change you wish to see in the world. So this is our participation. This is part of our effort. And we're doing it with our combined expertise between business, programming, coding, clinical psychology, and all these other things. And it's actually fun to get into conversations with Doc as to the psychology that's actually going on in cryptocurrency right now.
And that's one of the things that, like I said, a lot of people that get into crypto, they're either years old, like they literally heard about SHIB and now they're crypto experts and they just want to jump in and get a 1,000,000% gain. But when people ask me what I'm invested in, I say RMDoxx, the first thing they're like, well, it's not a lot of holders. The chart isn't exploding. Well, what you guys need to understand that are new to crypto or learning about crypto is you want a stable chart, right? Because the majority of the investors in RMDoxx are actual like professional investors. These aren't people chasing pumps. They're not people chasing candles. They're people that go, okay, I like the utility. I like everything that this project brings to the table. I'm investing in this long term. And I've told people ever since I started getting back into crypto, these long-term plays that you're getting into that have utility and vision and people behind the project that are professionals. And that's what I try to explain to people. Like, these guys are business professionals. They don't need to scam us. They don't need to rug us because they're already in jobs that they're very good at, that they're already making money. Like, they don't have to launch a token with a dog on it and hurry up and let it run up for a month and then take our money and take off. So like David just said, everybody's doxxed. Everybody knows who everybody is. I mean, it's just a great project. And like I said, if you're a serious investor like me that is in crypto for the long term, you're looking at projects like this because your favorite dog token, your cat token, everything else that you're just jumping in just because somebody told you to jump in may not be here tomorrow. But I'm telling you right now, this project is going to be here. So today I wanted to really go over, like I said, they had a really badass AMA yesterday with awesome Austin, right? So I'm going to put that description in there. But what I want to talk about today is the vision and the utility of this project so people get a real better understanding. So what I want to start with is your most recent partners, right? So List is trying to be like the next CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko. I think it's a very professional project. I like this project. I think that the team is doing something outside the box. I actually jumped in a Twitter space this morning and listened to them talk about their project and how, these tokens are throwing money hand over fist at CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko, just trying to get on there. And they may not, so one of the things he said was like, what if there's an error, right? What if there's an error on my contract? What if there's an error on my website? It is literally going to take me a month or maybe even longer to get that corrected. So List is giving their clients the ability to make those changes themselves so they're not stuck in this hamster wheel of trying to get their stuff updated because there's, 50 tokens launched a day? And then, David, what's the statistics on the tokens that are going to rug? I know you love to throw that out all the time.
Well, there's some controversy between Doc and I. There's some argument. We believe at least 80% will die inside 90 days. 95% will not survive 6 months. So,
and like I said, here's what people are missing in the big picture of what you guys are doing. You have a professional project like List that is coming in and saying, you know what? Look into my project. Look, here's the thing, guys. These guys are getting vetted on a personal level on what they've done. Like they've already gave up all their, identification. So the RMDoxx team knows who these guys are. And I think David's covered it numerous times because of the legalities and stuff like that. Just because if a token that was covered by RMDoxx were to rug, they just can't post their driver's license on the internet and let everybody go after them. Legally, they can't do that. But, if something were to happen from like a legal standpoint, from like a class action or investors getting together and suing these people, then that absolutely could be pursued. Am I correct, David?
Per the contracts that we execute, we would only release the information in the instance of a civil suit or a subpoena by law enforcement. Okay,
which could absolutely take place if you burn enough people. I mean, that's
absolutely.
So, but like I said, you guys are going. These tokens with utility are the ones that are coming to you guys. I don't really see a bunch of meme coins with no utility and no purpose trying to get Zion certified or join the Doxx Alliance. So for anybody that don't understand what those are, if either one of you, Lord or David, want to cover the difference between those two.
I mean, Lord, I can talk for hours. So do you want to chime in?
Yeah. So basically, we look at, so the process takes a couple weeks. So we look for if they have a utility, they fit our ecosystem. So we're looking at people who want to be doxxed and they have some kind of a utility that fits like the long vision we're trying to go for. So we're not in the sense trying to vet anyone. So we're being a little bit selective, trying to see if they have a good utility, they're a good team, they have good experience, and they can either join, like if they meet all the criteria, they can join the Doxx Alliance after they got vetted from Zion. But you can go and get vetted from Zion and not join the Doxx Alliance if you have a low score and if you don't have a good utility. So it works as either or, right? So, and they can work together. So basically you come in, you get vetted, the team is good, you have a great utility, you fit the ecosystem. You become part of the Doxx Alliance community and part of that larger ecosystem. So we're being very careful how we vet tokens. We don't want any token to come in. We want good people with good utilities to come in. The way that Zion scoring works, if anything above 60, it's kind of investable with the risk. So if you score like 65, you have some good elements going on in your project, but you're still like, we can invest in you, but there's also some areas of risk that needs to be addressed. The higher you score, the less risky it gets. Like our token gets around, I think, what was it, Dave? Like 85 or 87? I don't remember.
A disclaimer real quick, Haas, is this is not financial advice. We do this as a risk assessment of of how long we think the token could be in the space. So it's not, hey, invest in it because it's going to 100x. We don't ever say that. We make an assessment of the risk of the chance that the token could just rug. So that's kind of what the score applies to. If it's an 80, we believe it's likely the token won't rug. But we're not saying it's going to 100x on the chart. Okay. So it's not financial advice. It's our assessment of the risk of the possible token rugging or having some calamity.
Exactly.
And I think that speaks volumes for these projects that are reaching out to you to have you vet them directly, because they already know when they come to someone like you, you're going to dig in to the project. You're going to look through their coding. You're going to look through their website. You're going to look through the people. And, at the end of the day, they're going to get the score that they get, right? So what I really like about you guys too is say, you do give them a score. They go, well, hell, I don't like this score, but guess what? They have room to improve on that, right? Like you can say, hey, look, here's the area you're lacking in. Here's what you're missing in your project. And to protect our investors, we need you to do this, or you need to bring this up. in order to approve or, bring up your score. I think that is a great asset to these projects because, I'm going to give you an example. You got what was it? Bully Venue, right? They just signed with you guys. And the guy basically said, "Hey,
undergoing the process."
He said, "I'm basically new. This is kind of something I'm getting into, and I want professionals to look at my project to make sure I'm doing things the right way." And that is another project, just like List, that is coming in and going, "Hey, we have real world utility, right? We're not a meme coin. We want to somehow offer something to people to be able to bring crypto into their lives." And I listened to the AMA with them, and I thought it was really neat that they're trying to, for people to be able to pay their rent and stuff with the tokens and crypto. So, I mean, I think we're all on the same page that we really eventually want mass adoption. And projects like this that are bringing utility and honesty and integrity to the forefront, but then they're not only just saying it, right? They're coming to guys like you who are unbiased, third party, and saying, "Here you go. Everything's on the table. Knock yourself out." And I think that speaks volumes, like I said, for the projects that are coming in and basically saying, go after us, see what you see.
But something I want to state clear is this is their property. Okay, we're not going to put them on blast. They may not like their score. There may be things they don't feel they have the time or money to fix. So we're not going to put them on blast. And they may want to take a step back, fix some things, and come back and have the score redone. Okay. Not because they're up to anything nefarious, but because sometimes, if you're a legit dev, it's a full-time job. Like I pull 18-hour days, 16, there've been a couple 18-hour, but I'll pull 16-hour days a few days a week. I mean, I think Lord's the only one who works harder than me time-wise on the team, and he makes me feel lazy. So, we try to be mindful of, we want the people to come to us to succeed. We want to be helpful. We want to be nurturing. We want to be fostering in the space, especially if they're looking to launch. Because there are things, if you go and you buy a code from someone who's overseas, you've never met, you have no idea who they are, and they tell you it's going to work because you plop down $5,000 or more, you may think it might work. And Haas and another member on the team, in one contract, they're like, this isn't going to work. We're testing it. We're pulling it every way. We're tinkering with it. And Haas, I think you might be able to shed some light without naming anybody, but we ended up helping them go to someone else who did really great by them.
Yeah, so one of the things, if you're launching a good project, we do testing assistance. So besides looking at the environment, the team, the KYC part, we actually look at the contract. We run a lot of testing, and we give them the extra set of eyes that they need, because the devs could be overwhelmed. They're rushing. They're answering a lot of people. So sometimes you lose focus, and by us coming in and focusing on testing and making sure all the tokenomics, the function, everything is working like it's designed. This is where we add value when you have a new launch, to make sure you're gonna launch successfully. So when we're testing on testnet, we run a lot of test scenarios and make sure like they sign and approve everything. So not only we're like vetting, doing the KYC, looking at the teams, we're actually performing testing just so we can feel safe. Also, we're giving kind of like the go ahead, and they actually do feel safe also, because there's another team that's making sure that the contract will be successful when they launch it. So this is some of the stuff that includes in the vetting services that we're offering.
So I'm going to sidestep away from that, because I feel like something you guys are about to bring to this industry is something that is untapped and is going to be revolutionary in the terms of how integrity and honesty is approached in this industry. And that is going to be this influencer rating, right? Which I already told you guys up front. I will give you my driver's license, anything you need. You're more than welcome to vet me just like you would vet anyone else. I volunteer to go first. And the reason why I think that's so important is because a lot of you people that are getting into crypto, the first thing you do is whatever you heard about, SHIB, Saitama, whatever, first thing you do is you go to YouTube, you type it in, and you see 50 videos of these guys with thousands upon thousands of subscribers pumping this stuff up, right? So as a new investor, you really don't know. And I mean, part of it, it falls on you. So, but the other part is, here's my explanation. If I go to a mechanic, right, I expect him, because I'm not an expert in that field, to give me an honest and integrity observation on what needs done on my vehicle. So if he comes to me and says, you need this, 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 and this, okay, I'm probably going to take his word, right? And I feel like that is the problem with these influencers, right? They feel like they can slap a "I'm not a financial advisor" tab on their videos, and then they're free from all liability once these people get hurt. So the fact that you guys are going to pursue a influencer rating, I think is absolutely monumental. If you guys want to talk about that real quick, and then I had a couple questions on that as well.
So I think we'll cover it in two parts. We'll cover kind of the legal complexities in brief order. So we have to walk this fine line between publisher and, basically people who are writing stuff. We want to use information that can be verified. We want to use screen caps. We want to use videos. We don't want people just writing nasty comments about an influencer and having it taken as gospel. You don't want that. That's not good for the space. That's not good for anybody. But if you have video of someone pumping a token, we want you to bring it to us. We're grabbing tokens. We're trying to use the Wayback Machine, as Haas likes to say. And we're trying to look at these different things. Now, the idea is to help good influencers come forward, people who are understanding that they need to be a billboard, present the information, show the source of the information, and maybe try and do some explaining or analysis, or even reach out to developers themselves. There are a lot of young developers, a lot of young tokens that would love to have AMAs right now. They can't get them unless they cough up 10 ETH. Okay, 10 ETH with no guarantee it's going to get you an ROI. And the problem is a lot of those people, they made their money shilling one token, which was largely driven by whales. In my opinion, if you watch the chart. So, we have to, we're crafting it to where it's mostly self-reported, but it's collected. I'm working on gathering names, information, and it's surprising more and more people are starting to write stuff. I think Crypto Empress had a YouTube video out. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I saw screen caps and someone sent it, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Okay. I'm not going to speak to her one way or the other at this moment, but there's a lot of people after Rog who go, hey, why are you deleting all your YouTube videos? Why are you deleting all your screen caps? And I tell people, in the day and the age of the internet, Pixar didn't happen, man. So screen cap that stuff, download those videos if you can. If you can just only get screen caps because you don't want to fill up your storage, do that. Because we need information we can verify. We can't just run around making accusations. All right, that's not healthy. That's not good for anybody. Yeah.
So there's two ways to go about this, right? Like me personally, I can come to you and say, hey, I want to score. I'm an influencer. I'm a YouTuber. I'm a person on Twitter. I want you to score me. So that is one avenue, right? And then the other avenue is you guys are looking at somebody like Austin Shillington, right? And you can be like, okay, this dude's pumped 20 rugs, so his score is probably going to be, whatever. I can't speak for you. I'm just speaking from my personal opinion. But, people like that, they're eventually going to be out of this industry, right? They're going to be out of a job because there's going to be enough positive and influencers with integrity and morals that really don't want to hurt their fellow community. And it's not about the money for them. And I was just talking about to David earlier, right? So I covered a charity token this morning on Twitter Space, and my $2,000 investment, I believe, was $36,000 about 30 minutes ago. I could be that guy that dumps my entire bag right now and takes my profit and leaves. But you have an obligation to be an honest influencer and an honest investor in this space, right? So if I just told everybody how great this project was and how I believe in them and I want to help them grow and I'm going to invest this much money in the beginning to see where they get, and then I turn around a couple hours later and I dump on that project simply because I'm ahead some money, I can't live like that, man. I can't go to sleep at night knowing I did that to my fellow community, and I'm not going to. So here's where I'm gonna take the wheel for a minute and speak on RMDoxx as an investor, right? So a lot of people, they like to say, just because I stand up to them and they stand up for me, that I'm on the team. That is absolutely not correct. I just align with them on their vision and their morals and their integrity. And that is a project that I want to stand by and support 100%. I have been with these guys since November, and I can tell you right now that there is only one legitimate project doing what they're doing, and it is RMDoxx. It is not TARP. It is not Rise Up. These people are literally riding the coattails of a legitimate project, trying to make a name for themselves. They got apps that don't work. They haven't stopped any rug pulls. And I'm going to blast TARP real quick. And this is not me speaking on the team. This is me talking as an investor. If I'm looking at these projects, when I see a project like TARP using Max Hernandez from Saitama that has been, all over these dudes since what, August, right? Like giving each other virtual hugs on Twitter and, oh my God, I love Max. Max is my best friend. I love Saitama, and posting all over Twitter how much they love each other and they're best friends. And then they come out and try to throw shade on a project like Shinja about some wallets when Saitama has been dumping wallets since November. Like the fact that these, like I said, they're absolute posers. And I've challenged Matt and Justin to come at me head to head in a Twitter space. They've declined for obvious reasons because I would destroy them. That's here nor there. But listen, guys, this project is the real deal. TARP, Rise Up, they're not. They're literally writing the exact program and formula that RMDoxx put out, and they're not even comparable, right? Like I said, these professional projects like List and the Project Bully that's trying to Binu, that's trying to do the paying your rent with crypto, those are serious projects. Those are projects with utility. They are going to RMDoxx. They are not going to TARP. And like I said, a project like TARP lost all credibility when they threw shade on a project like Shinja, when they said, oh, well, we see some wallets doing some stuff we don't like. But then this whole time since November, they've been watching people in Saitama dump hundreds of ETH at a time on the small investors, hurting them daily, and they didn't say a word. So I'm telling you guys, that's just my personal opinion. I don't speak for RMDoxx. I'm just telling you that this is the only professional project out there. So you can like it, hate it, post hate mail all over my Twitter. I don't care. But these guys right here behind this project are the real deal, and they are doing what they say they're going to do in this industry, and they're not patting each other on the back or doing behind the door deals with people just because they're their friends.
Yeah, and just wanted to add some points that what a lot of people do not understand about us. Like, we actually work with projects behind the scenes. We email the devs. We work with the communities, and Dave makes sure that any information exchanged between the teams remain confidential and does not leak or any of that. So once agreements are signed, everything is confidential. We only can publicize whatever the dev team go public with. So this is how we've been working, and this is something that people do not know a lot about us, that we actually do work behind the scene with the communities and all of it. Another thing I wanted to add about the influencer vetting. So it's gonna work in a similar fashion like what we're doing with our tokens, right? So we have to know their dogs, we have to know what they do, and all the information that we'll be collecting. But also we're also like scrapping, like using Python and scrapping their history on Twitter, and just to get the algorithm, the scoring going. So whatever we gather information against the algorithm, that will give you kind of the score that actually belongs to you, and it would be, and the score is the score, right? So and this is why, and this product we are able to launch it today. Like Zion scoring does have social elements going on to it right now. But we're holding a little bit because we're working with a lot of projects behind the scenes until we get all of that taken care of. We'll probably launch that second product, and probably, I would say, maybe a couple months or a few weeks. We're also working on another service, which is like blockchain forensic analysis. So we're also like, this is people who would like to track their wallets, would like to know what's going on. They're suspicious about certain things, but that also is involving that it's a transaction between A and B, and whatever information we provide remains confidential. And probably Dave can probably talk better about that side of things, but those are the few services we're gonna be launching, and I think there's a big one that we are building slowly with a couple partners. I don't know, Dave, you want to talk about that, but that's something. Uh, it will be in a few weeks. We'll probably definitely talk about it. This is a platform that involves few partners. Everybody is using their utility to launch that platform. So this is gonna be a big deal. So not only we're doing the token vetting, we're gonna have a lot of things going on once we iron out the first service we have. And we don't want to launch a lot of things at the same time because honestly, we cannot keep up until we iron out all the issues, and we want to move one phase at a time so we can keep everything exciting for everyone.
Well, it's about growing pains, and we want to make sure what we're doing 100% right. It is better to deliver an A plus than deliver 5 B minuses. Okay. And that's sometimes the millstone in this is we have so many talented people, so many great ideas and capabilities, and we'll be playing with things, we'll be working on stuff, and it's like, okay, so what are we going to get an A plus on? All right. So with the vetting process, I think we got the A plus. We're building the tiers, and then we're getting a lot of tokens coming to us who want us to help them launch, but don't necessarily want to be associated with the name at this time because there's certain toxic characters being given more credence than they probably deserve, in my opinion. So don't be surprised if 6 months from now, tokens that have been around for a few months start saying, hey, we have an RMDoxx score, we have an RMDoxx vetting and all that kind of stuff. So people seem to like us personally. They like our honesty. They like our integrity. But right now, the space is still a little contentious. People have misstated what we do. They've misstated our name. They've misstated our history. So, we're not there trying to be the loudest mouth in the room. We're there trying to create the best product.
So I'm actually going to speak on that real quick. Like I said, I don't speak on your guys' behalf, but I like to talk anyway. So a lot of you projects, if you're watching this right now and you're taking credence and credibility from some of these YouTube shills, I literally can go to Fiverr and buy myself 10,000 Twitter followers and slap a crypto in my name, and now all of a sudden act like I'm a crypto expert all over Twitter. So a lot of you guys, you see these so-called influencers and shills, and you think, oh, I really need this guy to promote my project and whatever. But if you would do with what Lord just said, if you would go through their social media and scrape how they talk to other people, how they talk to other communities, how they treat their fellow investors, you would have a change of heart, right? And there's projects, I'm not going to name drop them right now, that I've dropped at the drop of a hat for using certain influencers, and I don't feel bad about it whatsoever. Because at the end of the day, I treat the projects I'm in like a business. And if you make a bad business decision and you're holding my money, I don't trust you to hold my money anymore. And a prime example is Netflix, for example, when they came out with that little BS cuties, right, that was sexualizing children. And guess what? All these people dumped that stock and they made a huge ordeal out of it. And you don't get to come into crypto and say you want to act as a business and be a professional entity and then just do all the shenanigans and bring on people that have zero credibility. I mean, some of these people, they don't even know what they're talking about in crypto. They literally go through your white paper and just parrot what they saw, and you're paying them 1 Ethereum or 2 Ethereum or 3 Ethereum. Stop it, guys. Like, this is madness, man. There's going to be people like me that you're not going to want to deal with because I'm a pit bull. I tell it how it is. There's no punches held. I'm going to go all in. But there's other influencers just like me. Awesome Austin, Tammy Ski, Rodney, in my crypto journey. These are good people in this industry that want to bring integrity and credibility. And you know what? They're willing to take the heat just like I am, but I bring it a lot more than a lot of other people. So I can see where people are like, hey, you know, that's not a guy I want looking into my past. That's not a guy I want going through my Twitter or my YouTube and seeing that I rugged a bunch of people because he's going to blast me on a YouTube live. So they're not going to really go towards people like me. But just like RMDoxx, there are people that are going to value what I bring to the table like they bring to the table. And I'm going to give you an example. MediToken, right? MediToken is a project that I would have never looked at, right? Because it had a failed first launch. So they're on their V2, right? And the developer himself reached out to me. He's like, hey, I know what you're about. You know, I know your reputation. I want you to look into my project. And I said, bro, I don't touch, you know, projects that have to launch twice. I was like, but you know what? Since you're a charity token, tell me what happened. And he's talked about what David said earlier. What did they do? They picked some kind of blockchain guy that they had never met, took his word for it, took somebody, friend of a friend's word for it. They let this guy build the whole contract, do all the coding. And guess what? As soon as that money started rolling in, the guy pulled the contract, pulled the liquidity from a back door because he knew what he was doing with the code, and he rolled out. So my question was, all right, man. All right, Brandon, I'm willing to cover you, and I'm going to give you every hardball question I can come up with. I'm going to dig into your past. I'm going to go through your team. I'm going to go through your Twitter, right? But all I want to know before we even go past that is, did every investor get their money back? And when he told me that he personally made sure that every V1 holder was given their money back, even though it was out of his pocket even, those are the type of people that I want to be involved with. And like I said, I think this culture is going to shift, guys. So all these projects, they're like, hey, I don't want Ponzi looking into my project. I don't want RMDoxx looking into my project. I think as a community and as an industry, eventually they're not going to have a choice, right? Because these investors are tired of it. They're tired of the lies. They're tired of the empty promises. They're tired of somebody since November saying they're going to deliver a project, and every time they say it's going to come out, it's a failure. Like, the only people that are pumping that kind of stuff are the people that got in early, and they need the cash cow to keep going, and they need to keep bringing in new investors. And what is that? That is a Ponzi scheme. You have no usable project. You have no utility. And the only way you can continue to make money and keep the ship floating is if you bring in new investors. So that's why I am dead set on investing in projects that have utility. And that's why I was really excited to see List and a couple other partners link up with RMDoxx, because they are not a meme coin. They're not promising a bunch of BS and not delivering, right? They would rather under deliver, you know, and just let you guys look into the project, say, here, everything's on the table, go through all my stuff, see what we need to improve on, see where we're lacking, check my contract, check my coding, look into my team. And I think that's going to be a staple. I think at some point in this industry, people have had enough of the BS, enough of the shady shill influencers, that they're going to demand accountability. And so that's what I'm going to come to my next point. So as an investor in RMDoxx, right, these people are coming to you for this service. So what is, when someone comes to you or someone wants you to vet their project, how does that help me as an investor?
So I was fortunate enough to coin the term for the first time ever on Twitter, as far as my research showed, revenue as utility. I went and I looked. The first time I ever used it, I went ahead and screen capped it and Google emailed myself. So there's it can be authenticated. But the concept of revenue as utility is very simple. We take a chunk of the revenue, we use it to buy and burn the supply. So we buy out a Uniswap, okay, which we'll do from a whitelisted wallet. But when we send it to the dead wallet, reflections will go out to our holders. And because we're burning those tokens, we're increasing the deflationary nature and we're leaving the liquidity in the token itself. With that in mind, it's our intent to have a very close ratio of market cap to liquidity. Some of these billion-dollar tokens have less than $15 million in liquidity. So that means there's only a handful of people that can actually get their full boat out when they've been in from the beginning or they're large wallet holders. That's something a lot of people don't realize. It's something we want to work to prevent, but at the same time, the idea is that whether you come into us at 5 million market cap or 5 billion market cap, we want to be something you consider as part of your passive income portfolio. And also, we're a pure reflections token. We don't scrape ETH on buys and sells. We do this for transparency purposes. We do this to benefit our holders, because when we have to sell to raise money to do things, our holders are getting tokens. They're getting reflections, 7% reflections, mind you. We have a total 10% tax, 7% reflections, 3% for liquidity. And this was all done so people could track wallets. They could know they're safe. They could see where money is going, those kinds of things. So revenue as utility, to me, I'm hoping is going to be an evolution in the space. So people have a reason to buy in at high market caps, and they have a reason to build a passive income portfolio. List, to its credit, I think qualifies under this as well, because there's a 1% burn of supply in every transaction. We've gone through their code, and this part is just like really awesome. I don't want to misstate the technical terms, but basically their supply shrinks. Okay, it doesn't necessarily go to the dead wallet because they don't do reflections, but the supply actually shrinks on every transaction. So when you get listed, you have to pay a fee, and a chunk of that fee is used to buy the token to give out as rewards as part of their bounty program. Okay, so that transaction should burn 1% of that transaction that for the bounties should be burned from the supply, and then as it's being transferred and everything, that should burn more. So to me, in my opinion, that qualifies under revenue utility as well. So
you know what I took you guys serious for too? Like something that really got me interested in this project at the beginning is, for one, I liked everything you guys were doing before I ever even came into the Telegram and met any of you. I liked the vision that I saw when I found the project. I liked the low supply. Let's give for an example, like your competitor TARP, who has a zillion zeros in their BS project, and they have a monkey as their icon. So I want to tell you all, like, look, I'm a professional investor. I invest in professional projects. So when I see a company or a project coming out with a monkey as their icon, saying they're going to stop rug pulls, I don't take you serious. You are a joke to me. And that's exactly what that project is. So, I mean, I don't care. They can backlash all they want, but the real project, the real utility, the real vision is in RMDoxx, and it's been RMDoxx since the very beginning. Like I said, when they came out with a low supply, when they come out with 7% reflections, they are a serious project, and they are here for serious investors. So we might only be at 1,191 holders, I think, right now. But eventually, this is going to be a standard in this industry. People are tired of the meme coins. They're tired of the BS. They're tired of people promising apps that don't really work. They're going to come to people like us, and they're going to go, you know what? Maybe this is what we need. We need people that are honest and genuine. And maybe, instead of chasing lottery tickets, maybe it's better to have someone with integrity come in and actually vet our project. And that's what I said. I think you guys are doing great. You're going to continue to do great things.
What people do not know about us, all of our marketing is in-house. We've been working with our mods and everybody, including ourselves, to do our all in-house marketing. So we don't spend a lot of money on marketing like other teams, and we try to stay away from all of it just because we don't think it adds any value. And we have a good presence on social media. Either you love us or hate us, but we do have the presence. So that's plus things. And all my dev team, they all work. They get salaries, so they don't need to be spending. So we don't do any of that either. So whatever we have is what we have. The reason of the low supply when we designed it originally, because we were hoping at some point we become more of a services company. So we wouldn't need as much money from investors. So once we establish all of our services, we expect that this is going to take off and it's going to produce the goods for the investors. So you invest with us in the beginning, we invest in you later on. And that's what we're trying to get to. So in the beginning, you guys invest with us, then we bring the investments to the investors. The other things also, like we're working on with a project. I think you might know it. They do have AI uh, education videos. So we're working on exchanging services where they can actually provide us. We can produce like education using AI to do some marketing. So this is gonna be like a very nice deal. So we're still on the works with that, and we're very excited. But we're not. Our plan is not to spend money on marketing if we don't have to, and we've been that way for a long time. Um, and that's what it is for now. So
So I
Well,
mean, go ahead, David.
something I want to say real quick. When you're a new token in this space, you're going to get slammed by people with their marketing proposals. Okay. You're not going to know who to trust. You're not going to know who to talk to. If you're unsure, reach out to us. We'll have a conversation. We'll share what we know. You know, understand that just because someone, you just be careful out there. We got an education, and we want good tokens and good teams not to have to go through the same rigors. We don't want them wasting their money. We want them to be able to help their investors. And smart marketing and well-paid marketing is key to that. And if we can help you develop your own in-house marketing team, come talk to us. Maybe join the alliance. Get RMDoxxed or fully doxed yourself. Let's share. We like to do Twitter spaces with people. We're not toxic. We're not looking for supremacy or dominance. If anything, we're looking to become, I don't want to say critical, but we want to be a healthy part of the ecosystem that is cryptocurrency. We want to become something people go, oh man, I'll talk to RMDoxx because they may be able to teach me something. Maybe they'll help me with something. We want to be good actors. We want to be good farmers. We're not here to run a casino. We're
no,
really here to help it realize its full potential.
no, I agree with you, and we don't mind working with influencers as long they're legit. And once we start like our vetting for the influencers, this is gonna make all of us feel a little bit more comfortable that there is influencers out there that they're legit and everybody knows who they are. So this is something we're very excited to announce in the next few weeks. But right now, as you know, we're very busy with a lot of projects, and we're just gonna try to finish them one at a time. And yeah, so we're excited basically.
But something I do want to say is there are going to be people who became influencers maybe before they were ready, maybe before they saw the change in the culture. I'm a believer in redemption, and I want them to have a chance at it. I don't want them to be blackballed if they're interested in becoming good actors in the space, if they're interested in taking a forensic approach to investigating those tokens they do shill. If all you want to be is a billboard, that's okay. Nothing wrong with being a billboard. But I don't want carnival barkers trying to con people into tokens. I don't want that happening. But if you want to be more in depth, you want to be a contributor to the space, to the culture, you want to show that, hey, these are the teams, this is the utility, this is what I think, this is the information, how it could be helpful. I think that's really important. Flash will only get you so much, and Flash can get you a lot. But if this space is to grow, if we're to bring in new investors, people who will trust us with their money, we have to bring substance, we have to bring professionalism, we have to bring transparency, and chief as well, we have to bring accountability.
Have you guys thought? So I'm going to just brainstorm right now, and this is kind of what came to my head. So when you're talking about influencers and scoring and stuff like that, have you guys thought about putting together like a curriculum for these influencers that do want to get vetted personally, like to see if they actually even know anything about crypto? I mean, because I can see 10 of them a day that don't know shit about crypto that are all of a sudden experts. So I feel like if you guys had some kind of curriculum.
No, so you're actually on point. So this is some of the stuff we're thinking about. So when you go through like the vetting for the influencers, there might be like 3 hours course that you have to go through and watch and maybe answer a few questions that if you know the answers, you kind of get like the certificate and the seal at the end. So this is why I just mentioned the AI education to you earlier. This is some of the stuff we're trying to put together. So it's gonna
Awesome.
be. So this is why, like, I think you know the project Neros, I think. So this is gonna be very exciting. We're working with them on exchanging services. So you'll hear probably some news in the next few weeks about that.
Awesome.
So to take that a step forward, I am acquiring codes for contracts that have had honeypots and stuff like that. And maybe an idea is we hand them a pile of contract code and go, you have 3 hours to get back to us with which one's a honeypot. If you don't know, then that's something we need to educate you on, because even though they may not know it, they may, giving them the education, giving them a chance to answer it again, I think can be incredibly important, because most people don't know how to read a contract and see whether or not it's a honeypot. They can't tell you whether or not there's a limitation on tax. So if they see someone maybe put something in wrong where there's a limitation tax of, let's say, just say 15% for hypothetical purposes, but the combined taxes say 50%, well, because that limitation code is in there, you can't exceed that 15%. Now, how those taxes get divvied up is a different question. Okay, that might also be other language in the code. So you start getting into these areas that can get very sophisticated very quickly. So if the influencer might go, look, I haven't read the contract. You're going to want to do your own research. You might want to take it to Safe Solidity. You might want to take it to Token Sniffer. Things that can give you a really strong, maybe can give you a report on top of doing your own research. And again, we want to be educators in the space. We want to be a positive influence in the space. So as we grow, as we develop more, these are things we're going to want to do with the public as well, because we want to chase the bad actors out. And the only way you do that is by educating and empowering the public.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love it,
yeah, and I
guys.
would like to add, we want to bring that change in a positive way, right? So we don't want to hurt projects, we don't want to hurt communities. But if you rug, you're gonna see us out there in spaces. I mean, you already rugged, so we're gonna try to provide education, help communities. But as long you come forward to us, you try to do the right things, and we're gonna help, right? So we're not gonna go say like, I'm gonna tell you, I know hundreds of wallets out there. I mean, uh, I'm not going every day on a Twitter space and saying this wallet, I know of it, this is what it does, this is what it does. But when you rug or something, this is should be an education for people. Like, this is why you got rugged. You did not look at this. You did not look at that. But to avoid all of this, come to impartial parties like us. We will look at the environment. We will look at everything. Make sure everything is safe. Provide a score. Work with the community. Work with the dev team, and help them out. So one, you kill the FUD, right? Because everything gets answered. Two, uh, it makes the community feel secure. So when you tell them, oh, that you need to lock the liquidity, you need to have a multi-sig, you need to have the dev team docs, you need to have legal agreements between each member. So all of this needs to be defined. And and when they are not, they do cause some kind of issue within the team itself. So we believe uh, teams, social, technology, tokens, they play a big part of having a safe environment. And this is what a lot of people are missing. You could read the contract, find a bug here, you could find a issue with a wallet, but you have to look overall from end to end. Like, if the team's safe, the environment safe, the people they work with are safe. So we also look at the blockchain, right? So we study, like, who are the whales attached to the project? Are they doing harm? Are they good? And you kind of can tell from the movement. So, like, when you see whales coming from fintech companies overseas, this is not a lot of people can catch, or dust tokens, and they're doing some kind of a pumping, then like taking the money out of the project. So this is things we advise that team on, like, be careful, this is what's going on. So just to have a kind of a defense mechanism against bad actors.
So something real quick. One token we did investigate, and I won't say the name out of respect for the investors, although I think they relaunched and they're I think they fell back down to 1 million market cap. One of the things that was revealed is the quote unquote developers and project manager, they didn't know who each other were, supposedly. They didn't know each other's real names. They didn't have any idea who each other were. When we all dealt with it, we shared IDs, we shared names, we all did research on each other, we verified each other existed. But sometimes you got to be aware that some of these teams, they don't know who each other are. They don't. And that to me is the freakiest thing on earth, because they're being trusted possibly with millions of dollars. And they don't know who they're working with.
Yeah, so I agree 100. Well, fellas, I think we knocked it out of the park. I think you guys did a great job. I think it's going to give people a really good idea of what you guys are doing and why they should invest in this project, because we're going to be here long term. If you guys got anything else to add, let me know.
No, I just wanted to say Kyle sends you his apologies because he's sick. So, and that's it. He wanted